Ma'am, step away from the register, now.
What's going on? I work here. I'm in the middle of my shift.
We have reason to believe you're undocumented.
You can't do this to me in front of my customers. I have my ID right here.
People like you always say that. Turn around. Hands behind your back, now.
ICE Agent Derek Harmon thought he was executing a routine immigration enforcement action on a Tuesday morning in October 2025. Anonymous tip: suspected undocumented worker. A grocery store on the east side of Columbus, Ohio. In his mind, it was textbook procedure. But when he walked into Meridian Grocery at 9:14 in the morning, approached a young black woman standing behind register 4, and placed her in handcuffs in front of dozens of customers, he made the most catastrophic mistake of his entire career. The woman was Destiny Owens, 29 years old, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. A third-generation American citizen whose grandmother had worked as a seamstress for 40 years and whose father had spent 22 years serving in the United States Army before retiring with honors. And what Harmon did not know, what none of them knew, was that the entire arrest was captured on 4 separate body cameras worn by his team. Every word, every second, every illegal step. Footage that would eventually cost the federal government $920,000 and destroy careers inside the agency. Before we go any further, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments right now. And if this is your first time on this channel, hit that subscribe button. Stories like these need to be heard, and your support is exactly what makes that possible. Derek Harmon had been with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for 7 years. He joined the agency in 2018, fresh out of a criminal justice program, convinced he was going to make a real difference. And for a while, his supervisors agreed. He was aggressive. He was decisive. He moved fast. But fast was not the same as careful. Over his 7 years with ICE, Harmon had been named in 4 separate formal complaints alleging racial profiling. 4 complaints, each one investigated, each one quietly dismissed. His supervisors defended him every single time, describing him as bold and effective, a man who trusted his instincts. In reality, his instincts were not instincts at all. They were biases. And on the morning of October 14th, 2025, those biases were about to be exposed in front of the entire country. The tip had come in early that morning. An anonymous caller. No name. No details. Just a vague claim that there was an undocumented worker at a grocery store on the east side of Columbus, working under a stolen identity. No specifics. No description beyond a woman at one of the registers. Any proper investigation would have started with verification. A phone call to the store. A background check. Basic due process. But Harmon did not wait. He assembled his team and moved out within the hour. Harmon did not go alone. He never did. He brought 3 other agents with him that morning. Agent Lisa Thornton, who had been with ICE for 4 years. Agent Carlos Reyes, a 6-year veteran of the agency. And Agent Michael Wade, the newest member of the team, only 11 months into his position. All 4 agents were required to wear body cameras during every field operation. That policy had been put in place 2 years earlier, in 2023, after a string of civil rights complaints forced the agency to implement mandatory recording protocols. Every agent, every interaction, no exceptions, for cameras, for separate audio feeds, for different angles capturing everything that happened from the moment they entered that store. What none of them understood that morning was that those 4 cameras were about to become the most important pieces of evidence in one of the most significant civil rights cases ICE had ever faced. The footage would not just document what happened inside Meridian Grocery. It would prove exactly what happened, irrefutably, from every angle. It was 9:14 in the morning when the 4 agents walked into Meridian Grocery. The October sun was already bright and clear outside, and the automatic doors let in a wash of natural light that flooded the front of the store. Inside, the morning rush was in full swing. Customers filled the aisles. Children sat in shopping carts. A line had already formed at the self-checkout, and behind register 4, wearing a green apron with the store logo across her chest, was Destiny Owens. She was scanning a customer's groceries when she first noticed them. 4 men in dark jackets moving through the front of the store with purpose. She had seen ICE agents on the news before. She did not think anything of it at first. Not until Agent Harmon made direct eye contact with her and started walking straight toward the register. Harmon's camera captured his own approach from a forward-facing angle. Every step deliberate. His jaw set. His eyes locked on Destiny. Thornton's camera, positioned slightly to his left, captured the store from a wider angle. The customers, the registers, the fluorescent lights overhead mixing with the morning sunlight pouring through the front windows. Reyes's camera captured Destiny's face from across the aisle, her expression calm, focused on her work, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Wade's camera recorded the scene from behind the other 3 agents, the full width of the store visible in crystal clear morning light. "Ma'am, step away from the register. Now." Harmon's voice was firm. Not loud, but firm. The kind of voice that expected immediate compliance. All 4 audio feeds picked up every word with perfect clarity. Destiny looked up. Her hand stopped moving over the scanner. The customer in front of her, a woman in her 60s holding a loaf of bread, turned to look at the agents. "What's going on?" Destiny asked. "I work here. I'm in the middle of my shift." Thornton's camera captured Destiny's face in that moment. Confusion. Not fear. Not guilt. Confusion. The expression of someone who had absolutely no idea why a federal agent was standing at her register. "We have reason to believe you're undocumented," Harmon said. "Hands behind your back." The words landed like a physical blow. Reyes's camera recorded Destiny's body language shift in real time, her shoulders pulling back, her hands dropping to her sides, her eyes widening. Wade's camera captured the reaction of the customers nearby. A man in a blue jacket 2 registers down stopped walking and turned his head. A teenage girl near the entrance pulled out her phone. "You can't do this to me in front of my customers," Destiny said. Her voice was steady, but her hands were trembling. Thornton's camera caught both, the steadiness in her voice and the trembling in her fingers, visible in the sharp morning lights streaming through the store windows. "I have my ID right here. People like you always say that," Harmon said. "Turn around. Now." The store went quiet. All 4 cameras captured it. The sudden silence. Customers freezing in place. A child in a shopping cart 2 aisles over stopped crying, as if even she could feel the shift in the air. Wade's camera recorded the scene from behind. The backs of Harmon's shoulders, the stillness of the store, the morning light catching the dust in the air. Destiny did not turn around immediately. She stood there for 3 seconds, 3 seconds that felt like 3 minutes. Her eyes searching Harmon's face for any sign that this was a mistake, that he had the wrong person, that someone was going to step in and stop this. No one did. Reyes's camera captured her face during those 3 seconds. Every micro-expression visible in the unforgiving brightness of the morning light. Disbelief. Confusion. And then, slowly, the beginning of fear. "I was born here," Destiny said quietly. "I was born in Columbus." Harmon did not respond to that. He stepped closer. Wade's camera recorded his movement, deliberate, authoritative, closing the distance between them. Thornton's camera captured the customers watching from the ends of the aisles. No one moved. No one spoke. A dozen phones were already being raised. "Turn around," Harmon repeated. Destiny turned around. Harmon's own camera recorded what happened next. His hands reaching for her wrists. The click of the handcuffs. The sound captured on all 4 audio feeds. A sharp, metallic snap that echoed off the grocery store floor. Destiny's wrists pulled behind her back. Her body tensing. Her shoulders rising as the metal bit into her skin. "This is illegal," Destiny said. Her voice cracked for the first time. Thornton's camera caught the moment. The crack in her voice, the way her jaw tightened, the way she pressed her lips together to keep herself from breaking down right there in the middle of the store. "You don't even know who I am." "We know enough," Harmon said. Reyes's camera recorded Agent Thornton's face in that moment. She was standing 4 feet to Harmon's left, her body angled slightly away from the arrest. Her expression was unreadable. But her eyes, Wade's camera captured her eyes, moved to Destiny's handcuffed wrists, and then quickly looked away. No one intervened. Carlos Reyes stood with his hands clasped in front of him, his camera recording the scene, his own body perfectly still. Michael Wade stood behind the group, his camera capturing everything, his jaw tight, his eyes fixed on the floor for 2 full seconds before looking back up. 3 agents. All 3 of them silent. The store manager appeared at 9:17. A woman named Gloria Hartley, 43 years old, who had managed Meridian Grocery for 6 years. She came around the corner from the back office, saw the federal agents, saw Destiny in handcuffs, and stopped dead in her tracks. "What is happening?" Gloria's voice was sharp. Harmon's camera captured her approaching from the side, her face flushing, her hands balled into fists at her sides. "She works here. She has worked here for 3 years. What are you doing?" "Ma'am, this is a federal matter," Harmon said without turning around. "Please step back." "She is an American," Gloria said. Her voice was rising now. Thornton's camera captured Gloria's face, jaw clenched, eyes wide, every word deliberate. I have known this woman for 3 years. She is from Columbus. Step back, ma'am. Gloria did not step back. She pulled out her phone. Wade's camera recorded the moment. Gloria holding the phone up, her hand shaking slightly, the screen already recording. Other customers were doing the same. At least 6 phones were now pointed directly at the arrest, all captured on Reyes's camera from his angle across the aisle. Harmon guided Destiny toward the exit. Her shoes squeaked against the grocery store floor. All 4 cameras recorded the walk, past Register 3, past the candy display, past the automatic doors. Every customer they passed turned to watch. A mother holding a toddler pressed herself against the end cap to let them through, her face pale. At 9:19, Destiny Owens was placed in the back of a federal vehicle parked in the Meridian Grocery parking lot. The morning sun was fully up now. Harmon's camera recorded the moment he opened the back door. Reyes's camera captured Destiny's face as she was guided into the seat, tears beginning to form in her eyes, her wrists already red from the handcuffs, the morning light hitting her face at a sharp angle that made every detail visible. Wade's camera recorded the parking lot, the customers who had followed them outside. Gloria Hartley standing near the entrance, still recording on her phone, her voice audible on all 4 feeds. You have the wrong person. You have the wrong person. CTA number 2, at approximately 9 o'clock into the video. Should federal agents be required to verify citizenship before making an arrest? Comment below right now. Because this was not just a case of mistaken identity. This was racial profiling carried out by federal authority. And the consequences were going to be devastating for everyone involved. The drive to the Columbus field office took 18 minutes. All 4 body cameras remained active the entire time. Harmon sat in the front passenger seat. Destiny sat alone in the back, her hands still cuffed behind her, her body pressed against the door as far from the agents as she could get. Reyes's camera, mounted on his chest as he drove, captured the rearview mirror, Destiny's reflection visible in it, her eyes red, her lips trembling, her silence heavier than any words she could have spoken. They arrived at 9:37 in the morning. The intake desk was run by an officer named Sandra Davis, a 12-year veteran of the Columbus field office who had processed hundreds of detainees in her career. Harmon brought Destiny to the desk and began the intake process. Thornton's camera captured the entire interaction from the side, the fluorescent lights of the facility casting a harsh glow over everything, a stark contrast to the bright morning sunlight they had just left behind. Name, Davis said, her tone flat and procedural. Destiny Owens, Destiny said. Her voice was hoarse. Date of birth, March 3, 1996. Country of birth. Destiny looked up at Davis. Her eyes were swollen. Harmon's camera captured the moment. Destiny's face, raw and open, looking directly at the officer behind the desk. United States, Destiny said. Columbus, Ohio. Davis typed something into her computer. Her expression did not change. Wade's camera recorded her fingers moving across the keyboard, the screen partially visible, a database search loading. Reyes's camera captured Harmon standing to the side, arms crossed, his jaw still set, his posture unchanged from the moment he had walked into that grocery store 40 minutes earlier. Then Davis stopped typing. She leaned forward slightly. Her eyes moved from the screen to Destiny, then back to the screen. All 4 cameras captured the shift, the subtle change in her body language, the way her fingers paused over the keyboard, the way her brow creased. She's in the system, Davis said slowly. Her voice was quiet. All 4 audio feeds picked up the words clearly in the silence of the intake room. Born in Columbus. Valid social security number issued in 1996. No immigration holds. No warrants. Nothing. The silence that followed was captured on all 4 cameras. The audio feeds picking up nothing but the hum of the fluorescent lights and the distant murmur of voices from other parts of the facility. Harmon did not move. Thornton's camera recorded his face, a flicker of something crossing his expression. Not guilt. Not surprise. Something closer to irritation. Run it again, Harmon said. Davis ran it again. Same result. Active nursing, no. Active cashier employment. Tax records at the same address for 4 years. Ohio driver's license. Issued 2019, renewed 2023. Davis looked up at Harmon. Agent Harmon, she's a citizen. Harmon said nothing. Wade's camera recorded the moment. The intake desk. The fluorescent light. Harmon standing perfectly still. And Destiny, still in handcuffs, tears running down her face, listening to an officer confirm what she had been telling them from the very beginning. It was 11:02 in the morning when Destiny was allowed to make a phone call, almost 2 hours after her arrest. 2 hours in a detention holding room with her wrists aching from the handcuffs, her green apron still on, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. She called her mother. Patricia Owens was 56 years old. She lived 12 minutes away from Meridian Grocery. She had dropped Destiny off at work that morning at 8:45, the same way she did every Tuesday. They had talked about Thanksgiving dinner on the drive over. Normal. Ordinary. A Tuesday morning. The phone rang twice. "Hello, Mom." Destiny's voice broke on the first word. The camera mounted in the holding room, a fixed facility camera, not a body camera, captured the moment. Destiny sitting on a metal bench, the phone pressed to her ear, her body folding forward as the composure she had been holding for 2 hours finally shattered. "Mom, I've been arrested. ICE arrested me. I'm at a detention facility." Patricia's scream was audible on the recording. A raw, sharp sound that pierced through the phone speaker and was captured clearly on the facility audio. Destiny's shoulders began to shake. Her face crumbled. Every wall she had built since 9/14 that morning came down at once. "Mom, listen to me. Listen." Destiny was crying now, her words broken up by sobs. "I need you to call Marcus. Tell him to call Mr. Cole. Tell him what happened. They said I'm undocumented, Mom. They put handcuffs on me in the store. In front of everyone." Patricia was crying on the other end. Both of them crying. The recording captured all of it. Marcus Owens was Destiny's older brother, 32 years old. He worked as a paralegal at a mid-sized law firm on the north side of Columbus. Patricia called him 4 minutes after hanging up with Destiny. Marcus called his boss within the hour, and his boss referred him directly to Raymond Cole. Raymond Cole was not a household name, but in Columbus, Ohio, among civil rights attorneys, he was the name. 51 years old, 23 years of experience. A man who had spent 2 decades taking on cases that other lawyers walked away from. Cases against police departments, against federal agencies, against systems that most attorneys considered too powerful to challenge. When Marcus Owens called Raymond Cole at 11:47 that morning and explained what had happened to his sister, Cole listened for 4 minutes without interrupting. Then he said 3 words. "Send me everything." Raymond Cole arrived at the Columbus ICE field office at 2:31 in the afternoon. 5 hours and 17 minutes after Destiny Owens had been arrested in a grocery store while scanning a customer's groceries. He walked through the front doors carrying a black leather briefcase. He was wearing a charcoal suit, pressed and clean. His expression was calm, controlled. The kind of calm that only comes from 23 years of walking into rooms where powerful people expected him to be intimidated. He was not intimidated. He identified himself at the front desk and requested to see his client immediately. The officer on duty, not Sandra Davis, a different officer working the afternoon shift, made a phone call. 5 minutes later, Destiny was brought out of the holding area. Cole saw her wrists first. Red. Swollen. The skin irritated from the handcuffs she had been wearing for over 5 hours. His jaw tightened. He did not say anything. He simply nodded to Destiny and turned back to the desk. "I need a conference room," Cole said. "And I need Agent Harmon brought down here. Now." The conference room was small. A table. 4 chairs. Fluorescent lighting. A camera mounted in the corner. Standard procedure for all attorney-client meetings at the facility. Cole sat across from Harmon, who arrived 7 minutes later, still in the same dark jacket from that morning. Cole opened his briefcase. He began laying documents on the table, one at a time, each one placed with deliberate force, flat on the surface, turned so Harmon could read it clearly. First, Destiny's birth certificate. Certified, with a raised seal, issued by the state of Ohio. Cole placed it directly in front of Harmon and let it sit there. Second, her Ohio driver's license. Valid, current, renewed in 2023. Cole placed it next to the birth certificate. Third, her employment verification from Meridian Grocery. 3 years of continuous employment. Signed by Gloria Hartley. Cole placed it beside the others. Fourth, her tax returns. For years. All filed. All from the same Columbus address. Cole stacked them neatly to the right. Fifth, a letter from the administrator at Meridian Grocery confirming Destiny's employment, her citizenship verification at the time of hiring, and the circumstances of the arrest as witnessed by store staff and customers. Sixth, Destiny's valid United States passport, issued in 2022. not expiring until 2032. Cole placed it on top of everything else. The gold eagle emblem on the cover clearly visible under the fluorescent light. 6 documents, laid out one by one, each one irrefutable. The facility camera recorded Harmon's face throughout. His expression did not change, but his hands, visible on the table, shifted. His fingers curled slightly against the surface. His jaw moved. A muscle in his neck tightened. Cole leaned forward. "Agent Harmon," he said. His voice was quiet, measured. "You arrested this woman at 9:14 this morning based on an anonymous tip that provided no name, no physical description, and no evidence of any kind. You placed her in handcuffs in front of dozens of customers. You detained her for over 5 hours without verifying a single piece of information that would have taken you 30 seconds to confirm." Cole paused. Let the silence sit. "She is a citizen of the United States. Born in Columbus, Ohio. She has been a citizen her entire life. Every document in front of you proves that beyond any possible doubt." Cole tapped the passport with one finger. "So, I need you to tell me, Agent Harmon, what exactly made you single her out from every other person in that store?" Harmon did not answer. "She's black," Cole said. His voice did not rise. It stayed flat, direct, stating what everyone in that room already knew. That's the only thing she matched. You saw a black woman behind a register and decided she must be undocumented. That is racial profiling. It is illegal, and it is exactly what happened here. Destiny was released at 2:58 in the afternoon, 5 hours and 44 minutes after her arrest. Cole walked her out of the facility. The camera near the exit captured the moment they stepped through the doors, Destiny's legs nearly giving out as the weight of the day finally hit her. Cole steadied her with one hand on her elbow. She leaned against the wall outside and pressed her face into her hands. Her wrists were bruised, visible in the late afternoon light. Red marks circling both wrists where the handcuffs had dug into her skin for nearly 6 hours. Cole looked at her wrists. Then he looked back at the facility entrance. "We're going to file," he said. The lawsuit was filed 3 weeks after the arrest. October 2025. Destiny Owens versus the United States of America, filed in the Southern District of Ohio Federal Court. The charges were extensive. Violation of the Fourth Amendment. Unlawful seizure without probable cause. Violation of the Fifth Amendment. Deprivation of liberty without due process. Racial profiling in violation of federal civil rights statutes. Excessive force during the arrest and detention. Emotional distress. Reputational damage. The evidence was described by the court as unprecedented. For body cameras, continuous footage from the moment the agents entered the store to the moment Destiny was placed in the vehicle. Audio captured on all 4 feeds. Dozens of cell phone videos from customers inside Meridian Grocery. Gloria Hartley's recording. The facility intake records. Sandra Davis's database verification showing Destiny's citizenship confirmed within minutes of her arrival. The federal government knew the evidence was devastating. They knew it before the case ever went to trial. Within 6 weeks of the filing, they made their first settlement offer, $150,000. Raymond Cole refused without hesitation. 2 months later, a second offer came in, $350,000. Cole refused again. A third offer followed, $600,000. Cole sat down with Destiny and explained the offers. Destiny listened. Then she shook her head. "This isn't about the money," Cole told her. "But it's also not just about you anymore. This is about every person who has ever been stopped, detained, or arrested because of the color of their skin by an agent who never bothered to verify anything." He leaned forward. "If we go to trial, we put all 4 cameras on a screen in front of a jury. We let them see exactly what happened. And we make sure the entire country sees it too." Destiny nodded. "Then we go to trial," she said. The trial began 14 months after the arrest. December 2026. The Southern District of Ohio. A federal courtroom packed with spectators, reporters, and cameras from every major news outlet in the state. On the 3rd day of the trial, Raymond Cole made his move. 4 large screens were positioned around the courtroom, one for each body camera. Each screen showed a different angle of the same events, from the moment the agents walked into Meridian Grocery to the moment Destiny was placed in the back of the federal vehicle. All 4 recordings played simultaneously. The jury watched in absolute silence. Harmon's camera showed his own approach toward the register. Deliberate, aggressive, no hesitation. Thornton's camera showed the store, the customers, the morning light, the stillness that fell over the room when Harmon gave his first command. Reyes's camera showed Destiny's face, the confusion, the fear, the tears. Wade's camera showed the other three agents, their silence, their stillness, their failure to intervene at any point. The jury watched Harmon place the handcuffs on Destiny's wrists. They watched Gloria Hartley confront him. They watched Destiny walk past her customers in handcuffs, her head slightly bowed, her green apron still tied around her waist. They watched Sandra Davis run the database and confirm Destiny's citizenship. They watched Harmon tell her to run it again. Jurors were visibly shaken. Two members of the jury were seen wiping their eyes during the playback. The courtroom remained silent for the entire duration. Not a single voice, not a single shuffle of paper, just the audio from 4 cameras playing at once. Destiny took the stand on the 4th day. She testified for 3 hours and 40 minutes. She described every moment, from the first command at Register 4 to the phone call to her mother in the holding room. Her voice shook at points. It broke at others. But she did not cry on the stand. She held herself together. Every word she spoke was confirmed by the footage the jury had already seen. Then it was Harmon's turn. Cole cross-examined him for 90 minutes. Agent Harmon, Cole began, standing directly in front of the witness box. What made you single out Ms. Owens from every other person in that grocery store that morning? Harmon shifted in his seat. She matched a profile, he said. What profile? Silence. Agent Harmon, what profile did Destiny Owens match? More silence. Harmon's eyes moved to his attorney. Back to Cole. Back to the jury. He had no answer. The jury deliberated for 2 full days. When they returned, the verdict was unanimous. On every single count. Liability established. The federal government was found fully responsible for the unlawful arrest, detention, and racial profiling of Destiny Owens. The damages phase lasted another 3 days. Cole presented evidence of the lasting impact, the emotional trauma, the therapy Destiny had been in for over a year, the anxiety that had followed her since October 2025, the damage to her reputation and her career. The jury awarded $920,000 in total damages. When the number was read aloud, the courtroom erupted. Destiny's mother, Patricia, stood up from the gallery and covered her mouth with both hands. Marcus put his arm around her. Destiny sat at the plaintiff's table and lowered her head into her hands, her shoulders shaking. Raymond Cole remained seated. He did not smile. He simply closed his eyes for 1 second and nodded. The consequences did not stop at the courtroom. Agent Derek Harmon was terminated by ICE within 48 hours of the verdict. His employment ended permanently. No pension. No severance. Gone. Agent Lisa Thornton resigned 2 weeks later. Her career in federal law enforcement was over. Agent Carlos Reyes was reassigned to a desk position and never returned to field operations. Agent Michael Wade, the youngest member of the team, was suspended pending a full internal review. 4 agents walked into a grocery store on a Tuesday morning. None of them walked out of that agency the same way they walked in. On a systemic level, the case triggered a federal review of ICE field operations across Ohio. Mandatory implicit bias training was implemented agency-wide. New verification protocols were put in place requiring agents to confirm citizenship through database checks before any arrest could be carried out. Body camera footage preservation requirements were extended to a minimum of 7 years. The body camera footage from Meridian Grocery became a case study, shown in law school classrooms, referenced in congressional hearings on immigration enforcement, used as a training example in police academies across the country. In ICE field offices nationwide, the case of Destiny Owens became something agents talked about in low voices. A warning. A reminder that body cameras work both ways, protecting officers who do their jobs with integrity and exposing those who do not. Destiny Owens established a legal fund in her name to help others facing unlawful detention. She has testified before Congress twice since the verdict. She is still a cashier. She still works at Meridian Grocery. Same register. Same green apron. She has not missed a single shift. If you believe that every person deserves to be treated as a citizen until proven otherwise, if you believe that racial profiling has no place in federal law enforcement, and if you believe that justice, real justice, means holding powerful institutions accountable when they fail the people they are supposed to protect, then hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Tomorrow we have another story, another case, another moment captured on camera that most people will never hear about unless you share it. Because the truth, when it is recorded from 4 different angles and proven beyond any doubt, has the power to change not just one life, but an entire system.